So we're gonna run down the day. Now, if we were to just take a step back from everything that happened on an ABC schoolyard curve, what do you give the Leafs?
On their defensive moves or on their moves in total?
Just the whole moves in total.
I'm giving them a B grade so far.
Okay.
And my mind is open to upgrading it. I think that this has been a fascinating couple days for the Leafs, honestly. We've seen a bit of a turn in how Kyle Dubas wants to build his team. I know he probably chafes at all the discussion around this, but let's face it, he was not the kind of GM that was going to sign a Zach Bogosian in the past. And, the only crazy thing to do is to just keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. And no matter how he wants to frame it or phrase it, if you just watch what the Tampa Bay Lightning did, and I don't mean just winning the cup, I mean how they transformed their team from a 62-win disappointment that gets swept out of the playoffs to a team of badasses, which they were. They were awesome in the bubble. They dominated the bubble. There was never a point I didn't think they were going to win the Stanley Cup during the bubble.
Wow.
And so I'll say that if you're in Kyle's shoes and you look at how your team's constructed, and there's obviously some parallels there, and you didn't at least think, hey, there's, maybe we have to just recalibrate, you'd be crazy. So I give them credit for doing that. And I like what they've done, but it's very clear we're looking at a picture that isn't fully complete. Like this painting, there's still some work to be done on this one. And the next moves could be interesting because they're signing all these guys at great value. Like no matter what you think of Jimmy Vesey, getting him at 900,000, there's no risk there at all.
So hold on, Jimmy Vesey. Hold on that because we are going to get to him. And I want to get to what they've done first, and then I want to go to what you think they could do because I think that's what's fascinating. And because otherwise the conversation is going to go all over the place as it often does on this show. And so I want to run through this.
Are you trying to keep this orderly?
Yes. I want to keep it orderly. I want to make sure that we do it right now. Steve, you can hear me too, right? You can. Yes. So we're good. You're good. Okay. So here's what I want to do. Chris, I want to get your reaction to each signing as I bring them up. And then Steve, I want to get yours as well, because it's very important we get both here. Now, we'll start with the defense. TJ Brodie, 4 years, $20 million, obviously a guy that they wanted for a long time. And it seems the feeling was mutual, especially after the details of the Kadri trade come out. Anytime a team wants you and your team considered trading you, you probably feel like, well, I probably want to be with the team that wants me. How does that deal happen? Pretty good value on it. What's your initial reaction, Chris? And then Steve will go to you after.
Well, duh. It made so much sense that we could even figure out that was a natural spot for him. I mean, look, the Leafs needed someone who can play the right side on one of their top two pairs. There was really limited options. If you're not doing Pietrangelo, which it was pretty clear the Leafs weren't, if you're not doing Pietrangelo, there were just so few guys that would fill that hole. And I think Brodie was the best of the remaining bunch. So I like the signing. I like the term. I don't think the money's crazy. It just made so much sense. Honestly, it was like a natural fit. If the glove fits, we got to acquit. It was so easy. It made sense. So I'm sure it wasn't easy to get him. There was other teams out there interested in him. I think Calgary had some interest in keeping him, but this to me, it already improves their team, right? You're removing Barry and Ceci, who Barry wasn't really a great fit for what they needed. Ceci just isn't performing as a top six defender on that team. You're getting better by putting him in there.
Notice you said top six to not top four. I agree, by the way, but Dubas apparently still doesn't. Now, Steve, with regards to that like when you saw the TJ Brodie signing come across, because you were doing a ton of coverage for Sportsnet, what was your reaction to it? What are your initial thoughts?
Thank goodness, because they needed someone on D, and it finally put to bed. Well, unless CJ tells me something different, it put to bed all the Pietrangelo talk, because it just didn't really seem like it was ever going to happen. I kept trying to galaxy brain a situation where they could make it fit. I'm sure there was a way, but just getting TJ Brodie for no assets other than cap space just seemed like a good fit. And what did I say should be the Leafs' number one priority this offseason? Improving defense. Riley, a
defense partner.
Exactly. Improving defense is way too broad of a term. They need to get their best defenseman a proper partner to play with. It wasn't CC. It wasn't Barry. Brodie makes them better automatically by that. So I was happy with the signing.
Well, let me hold you up there, because what I'm hearing, Chris and Steve, is that it's not going to be TJ Brodie and Morgan Rielly. It's going to be Morgan Rielly and Zach Bogosian, who signed for 1 year and $1 million. Now, the reason for that, and Steve is not going to hear this, Chris.
Did you actually hear that?
I have heard that. Now, the reason
I would snap.
You're bringing the news to me, Adam.
From where? Where did you hear it from?
Well, it was, there's so many.
My worst nightmare is where
there's a reason why we talk to one insider, because there's legitimate insiders, and then there's people that are like, I know a guy who's the cousin of a guy. Chris, as the official fourth member of this show, being a real insider, would know more about this than I would. But what I was told and what I've heard is that because the Leafs saw Zach Bogosian playing with Victor Hedman on those badass Tampa Bay Lightning teams that,
Victor Hedman played with everybody.
Right, but Zach Bogosian also played with Victor Hedman. That's why people said, hey, he's kind of a slower, he's a right shot guy, he's a big presence. Maybe they just put Bogosian with Rielly, and then and I think Jonas Siegel's article in The Athletic this morning even talked about it. You could have then Brodie and Muzzin. And then if you say you have Justin Hall or Travis Dermott, because Kyle Dubas has come out and said Travis Dermott will be playing the right side. Now, that's if he's wearing a Leaf jersey next year. But if Travis Dermott's playing the right side next year, or Justin Hall is there, then you have to think that both of those guys would be on the 5-6 role. Like, are we galaxy braining this, or is Morgan Rielly, or are Morgan Rielly and TJ Brodie playing together, Chris?
You ever get any complaints from your neighbors with all those planets and moons revolving around your head, Adam? Jesus.
Here's what I'll say. This is way too premature. And the only reason I say that, I still think there's another move coming here. And, I've heard it's possible we're not just talking about Dermott or Hall being moved. I mean, it's possible they're both moved. And obviously if that happens, I would assume there's another defenseman coming in. Like, it feels too soon. And I'm not trying to crap on your theory here, but I
my theory. Do it. It's a stupid one.
I just don't know who's playing for the team yet. So it's hard to say what the best pairings are. Like this Mikko Lehtinen is going to play for the Leafs. I'm telling you, I realize the hype train always comes with a European free agent, but this guy, people I trust in Europe say he is absolutely a top 4 NHL defenseman. And he's the best defenseman in the KHL. And the KHL is not a nothing league. I don't think the Leafs have him outside their top 6. Like, where's Rasmus Sandin in this?
This is a problem for me. I
know that Rasmus, he had options if he wanted to be one of these guys that could be loaned to a European team to get seasoning in and this time off. And I don't think the Leafs have wanted him to do that because they want him to be ready for a full season. Well, I mean, obviously that could still be a full AHL season, assuming there's the AHL. There's all these unknowns, but I think they envision him as being on the team too. There's too many bodies here. And so unfortunately they're not all staying. I can't tell you who's going. I don't know where they're traded, but this to me it's so hard to really talk about their blue line in totality yet, because I don't know who their top 6 are.
So then with that in mind, Chris, I mean, obviously a little bit of depth is good. If we could just, if Martin Marincin doesn't set foot on the ice for the Leafs again, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are pumped, and I get that Marty's a good guy. I get it.
Must be the best.
People, and he better be great. But there's a lot of people that never want to see that. Depth is not.
Is he the longest tenured guy in the organization now?
Yes.
No, Morgan Rielly. Morgan Rielly.
He's close though. He's in the mix.
Yes.
2050. This is the Leafs acquired Martin Marincin for one of the picks they got for Daniel Winnick. That's how long he's been here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
The first Daniel Winnick trade, by the way.
The first Daniel Winnick one.
So the good news for you guys is he's got to be 10 on the depth chart right now. I don't have it in front of me, but the
problem is that's where he should have been last season, the season before, and the season before that. It's not that he's an AHL stud, and he's like the opposite of TJ Brennan. Great at the AHL level. That's it. And I think there's a lot of there was a lot of Martin Marincin propping up, and I sort of bought into it for sure. But every time you see him play, you're like, I don't know what he's doing. I'm not sure what he's going to do tonight. Where's that puck going? Not really sure.
He's a good penalty killer.
100%.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, he's huge. The thing though, Chris,
Good
is that
stick,
like
though.
if you don't see,
Yeah, but for passing,
he's not handling the puck.
You could have given him a potato gun. You can get similar results.
Chris, if you were to, and this is we're not holding you to this. No one thinks that you know anything on the. No, we know you know stuff, but no one is holding you to this. What do you think the Leafs' top 6 looks like in an ideal situation to Kyle Dubas?
Keeping in mind, no one thinks you know anything.
No, but like no one's going to extrapolate anything from this is probably the better way to put it.
I just love the words.
Well, you got Riley, Muzzin, and Brodie as the absolute guys that are 100% in the top 6, right? They're in the top 4. Then it's just a ton of question marks, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what Kyle Dubas thinks on this one. I've never asked him.
You should.
He's kind of busy. He's probably having Thanksgiving right now with his family.
What's he been do all day anyway?
I don't know, but I know talking to their people, like they had a crazy weekend. I mean, especially Saturday. I'm pretty sure there was some wine consumed around the Leafs offices after they got through all that Saturday.
I can imagine. Another name that has popped up, the first name to pop up because he was given permission by the Sabres to talk to the Leafs 4 minutes after free agency breaks. Wayne Simmons to the Leafs, $1.5 million 1 year. He lives in Aurora. He's from Scarborough. Steve and I went to school with him. Obviously I went to school with Wayne.
Adam did.
I went to school. Oh, you didn't. Okay. Yeah. I went to school with Wayne in 7 and 8. Yeah. And I used to play road hockey with him. Great guy. Really nice guy. Always was. And was always destined to go where he's going. Like there was no question when you saw him on the ice, and my friend played him at AA, and I remember going to the game, and Wayne just, it was Wayne and then everybody else. He just danced through teams. I think he was playing for the Toronto Aces or something at that point. He was unbelievable. But, he gets to come back home, gets to play for the Leafs, which I think both sides definitely wanted. And he's got a lot of time to rehab whatever ails him because he has had some injuries. What does Wayne Simmons bring to this team? Do you like the signing? And do you see this making a big difference with the Toronto Maple Leafs going forward?
I hope he makes a big difference just because that means he does get his career back on track. I mean, last year was a miserable year for him. But I think what he brings is just character, and I love his story. I love how much he cares about the organization. I love that he's willing to take less money to be here in the same vein as Jason Spezza. I think the Leafs understand they're still building a culture, and that's such a buzzword. Businesses use it. Obviously sports teams use it, but I really do think it matters, and you can't fast forward it. Right. I mean, it's funny. Like when Babs used to talk about how like the Leafs need some scars. Well, they got their scars now. Right. Mm-hmm. They know who they are. Like they've been through some shit, and they're supposed to be really good, and they need these guys, I think, to come in and just, it's like an injection of confidence as much as hockey. And I know that, and look, I'm all for the statistical analysis that's come into the game. I'm not anti-analytics in any way, shape, or form, but I do think that
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'm not. But
How dare you?
No,
yes, he
because
is. He hates stats. If you like stats, he hates them.
Any analytical arguments are just logic-based arguments. I love logic.
Right.
Like to me, obviously you want the players that are doing the effective things on the ice to be on your team, and you want to be able to measure those things. But to me, it shouldn't be controversial. But there still is a bit of a secret sauce idea here. There's still something about the way your team plays and the fortitude you have and how hard it is. Because remember, the playoffs is so different than the regular season. Like to do what Tampa just did, you got to push and push and push. Like I think they played 4 extra games worth of overtimes in the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to be able to buckle down and just battle through some crap. Like that 5 overtime game was wild. And that was the first game of their first round against Columbus. And those guys, a few of them have said since, if they lost that game, they don't know if they have the run they had. Like it meant so much to their confidence to finally beat Columbus because they've been swept by Columbus. Obviously you play 8 periods of hockey, like you're being pushed to the limits of what your brain can handle, let alone your body. And so, I just think you need that kind of character and leadership and all that stuff. And so anyway, that's a long way of saying I think Wayne Simmons is like a home run for the Leafs on every way, shape, or form. I think it's awesome that young fans of the team get to see a guy like him who grew up here and, found a way to the NHL kind of through an unlikely path, and like that he's living his dream and living his best life. I think he's a great example, and I think the Leafs are going to appreciate it too. He's going to fight someone. He's going to throw some big hits. He's going to play in a way that this team doesn't always do. And again, they're not going to reinvent themselves. They're still going to try to outskill other teams, but I think a little bit of that sandpaper is going to help.